Years ago, I was working in operations in a business, and I was hired actually because business wasn't doing well. The business was negative. They were upside down the profit, and nobody really could figure out why it was happening. So I started going deep into all the numbers and investigation, and it's turned out to be a sales problem. And I hadn't really deeply ingrained myself in sales at this point in my career, but when I realized it was a sales problem, I was like, I have no choice. Figure out how to fix this. I spent months with the frontline sellers. I spent months with the leaders. I just ingrained myself in all things sales to try to learn. And the thing that came to light was that there was a really big disconnect between how sellers sell and how buyers buy. And it all kind of came to this with one particular salesperson. His name was Eddie, had this very large enterprise opportunity. He had no idea why this buyer was talking to him, but they had 3 and 4 meetings. And so we just started doing this like banter back and forth, like, why is this person even interested in buying this? Like, because it didn't make complete sense. And we finally figured it out where we were like, ooh, I think it's this. And then he booked another call, changed the way he was asking questions, changed his style of asking questions to kind of get to that motivation, like what was actually behind the motivation to purchase. And we were right. The hypothesis was correct. And then once he actually understood what was happening, his entire approach changed. And he's like, okay, now that I understand what you're actually trying to achieve, what's going on in your world, what you're trying to resolve with this purchase, let me speak to those things. So most companies know some rudimentary thing. In a B2B buying, we know budget and money conversations, that will be part of it. We understand loosely there are different levels of influence between people. We know that there are more than one decision makers involved. Do we actually have a strong command as a community in sales around, well, what are the different buying types? What really is a buying process, right? What actually occurs behind closed doors when people are making a choice? When we buy things in our everyday lives as people, we aren't fully aware. We're really not fully aware of all of our motivations. If you've ever bought a house before or choosing like an apartment, most people can't tell you why that thing is the right thing. They just tell you it feels right, but they can't really put their finger on it. And that's where it starts to get interesting in the psychology. The first and foremost misconception is that buyers make decisions on price. Price is kind of more like a side piece. It's not the main driver. Another strong misconception is that buyers always want to fix the problem. Most people think that if a problem exists, you should want to fix it. Why would you not want to fix a problem? Pretty sure if anybody takes a moment to think about their personal life, you can probably name 5 things that are broken in your environment that you have not fixed, that you are aware is broken, and you have given it 0 brain space. There are functional issues, and then there are executive priorities. When there is a functional issue at hand, it's not very motivating. It's how that functional issue manifests in an organization, how great the manifestation is, and if it's great enough to become an executive priority. One myth about buyer behavior that needs to go is likability. But we've been taught so long that people buy from people we like, and it's actually not true. We buy from people who are credible, who have expertise, that we believe that they can advise us well, but we don't technically have to like you. Do we need to share hobbies? No. Do we need to have the same favorite sports team? No. Do we need to like each other so much that we're like, next time I'm in your city, we're gonna get like dinner or a beer? No, I don't actually need that. What I need is somebody who's credible in their domain. Kind of first thing you need to understand in buyer psychology is different people are going to have a different role in the decision process. There are roles so some people, they will hold a role for a technical buyer. They do the technical validation to make sure that your tool actually addresses the functional issue that is occurring correctly. There's going to be somebody whose role is around that economic function, the money allocation function. There's going to be somebody whose role where this particular decision falls in a department that person has a lot of the accountability and responsibility to the success of the purchase and the implementation of the purchase. Salespeople often hyper attach to their main point of contact or their first point of contact, the person who gives them the most positive feedback, who smiles and they seem positive, and then we attach to them as our kind of decision maker or our strongest influencer, and they lean in on that single person. But that person's not going to make all of the decisions. There's a really interesting phenomenon when salespeople go into sales calls where they're like, I am here to sell, I am here to teach about my product. And so they end up being in this very transactional mindset of, I have this checklist, I have these boxes I need to fill, and then I need to tell them about the product. Think about it like a patient-doctor relationship. Like, yes, as a patient, I know my symptoms, I can vocalize what I'm experiencing, but I'm completely incompetent to actually medically diagnose myself. Is you don't actually have to be on competing sides of this negotiation. The truth is if you reframe your thinking and understand that actually, no, you can join the problem-solving journey together. You can partner with them. You are not on competing priorities. If you just partner together and go on the journey together, that actually really just makes the whole thing easier and more pleasant for everyone. If you want to learn more about how buyers buy and buyer psychology, check out our free resource center on thesalescollective.com, where we have tools and blogs and videos for you to keep learning.